Hello everyone and welcome to Craft Corner. Are you excited to be here with me? Hello everyone and welcome to Craft Corner. Are you excited to be here with me? Good, because I'm excited to have you, because today we are making something super special. Now, one of my favorite birds to watch, especially in the winter when there's snow on the ground and everything is nice and white, we get to see all the birds and all their bright colors shine really through, and especially the red cardinal. So for today, we're gonna make one of our very own that we can look at all the time. All we need is some construction paper. I have picked out this nice blue one that's going to be our background that we'll start with. So what we need is now a white piece of construction paper because we are going to be making some tree trunks for our cardinal to sit on. I am going to start with a bigger trunk, okay? Now the nice part about this is when we cut our tree trunk out, our lines don't have to be very straight because a tree trunk won't naturally be very straight too. So if it's a little wobbly, that's okay. But all we're going to do is cut a nice line all the way down. And this will be our first tree trunk. Now, if you can't use scissors on your own, that is okay. Definitely ask a grown-up to help you. And we'll carefully cut down. And now that we have our one strip, I'm going to cut little notches. What that means is like little triangles on the corners of our trunk. And I'm gonna pull that out. And the reason for that is because tree trunks aren't naturally perfect. They have little indents, little holes that birds and squirrels can hide nuts in throughout the winter time. So we wanna make our tree trunk the exact same, where it's not perfect. And it has little holes for our cardinal friends to hide some things in or to stay warm and hide out in the winter. So now that I've cut out a few triangles on each side, I'm gonna brush away our little triangles and take out my handy dandy glue stick, and I'm gonna glue on our first tree trunk. So I'm just gonna choose one side and add some glue onto it. And what I'm going to do is for this tree trunk, since it's our first one, I'm gonna put it to one side of our paper. And I'm going to make sure that the top lines up with both sides of the paper. So my blue lines up with my white on both the top and the bottom. Now it's my favorite part to press it down, use all of our might, and make sure it's nice and tightly on there so our tree trunk doesn't fall off. Now, I'm going to add 2 more tree trunks. So I'm just gonna cut away. All right, now it's time for our second step. So I've added 2 more tree trunks and I've really spaced it apart where I have this big gap in the middle because we're going to be adding a branch to go this way across our empty space so we have an actual place for our cardinal to rest on. So we are going to make a little branch for our cardinal. So this time we only have to use a smaller piece of the paper, so a small rectangle. And remember, the highlight, it doesn't have to be perfect. So now what we get to do is I'm going to cut one part of our branch so you can choose either end and make it a little bit more round, like a branch. And I'm gonna do it so it has a little notch, like a little tiny branch next to it. Just like that. And we cut in some of our little indents or little holes into it too, just like we did with the bigger pieces. And now what I'll do is we'll glue it on down. So we're going to choose our big tree trunk here, and then towards the bottom of our tree trunk, we're going to slip in our little branch. So I can take my handy dandy glue stick again and coat the back of it very nicely. So we have a big, strong branch for our cardinal to sit on, and we'll put it right in there. So now I have a nice branch for my cardinal to rest. So we'll go ahead and I'm gonna put this one off to the side so I have a big space to make my cardinal. So I'm gonna put my hand down. You can choose either one. And we are going to put our palm so it's at the edge and start tracing around. And we really want to make sure our fingers are fanned out too, so that our cardinal has some nice little wings and feathers spread out. So we're gonna go around. You can use a pencil or a pen, anything you can see, so that we can cut out our hand once we're done. Or I should say our cardinal when we're done. All right, so now I got my big cardinal here. I'm gonna cut it out. Now the nice part is, just like a lot of bird crafts we get to do, we get to use our hand. It's fun when we get to use our hand to trace around. Our hands get to be a lot of things. All right. All right, now it's time for our fourth step, which is to actually glue down and now create the face of our cardinal. So we're gonna take our handy dandy glue stick once again, and this time we wanna make sure that our palm, so the bottom of our hand, this part of the cardinal, is facing our other tree trunks right here. And our feathers are facing the outside, so they'll stick off a little bit of our paper. So we'll just make sure that our palm is all covered with our glue. And we'll flip the cardinal over and glue it so that our cardinal is resting on our little branch that we created for him. So our cardinal is now going to look something like this. So if we can see, our cardinal right here is on our branch, and now we get to create the face of our cardinal, which is very exciting. And all we need is a black piece of construction paper. This is probably one of my favorite steps, because all we have to do is cut a little corner piece, because we need that little triangle, because that's going to be the face of our cardinal. So we get to now just glue that little triangle onto our palm. So a little bit of that glue once again, cover it on up. You don't want our cardinal's face to fall off, right? Now we're going to put it right over and line up our lines. So now we have a nice point at the end of our cardinal's face, because we need to add that nice bright orange beak. Because what good is a cardinal if it can't sing us some wonderful songs? And we need that beak, that orange beak. So once again, I got to cut off a little triangle off the end of that paper, and we get to glue it to the end. So we get to match up those triangles. So now we get to glue. So we'll get our handy dandy glue stick once again. Now it's a very tiny little piece of paper. We're gonna put it right at the tip of our cardinal's face. And one last final touch, our cardinal has to see, right? So it gets an eye. I'm gonna put a nice googly eye on there. Now, if you don't have googly eyes at home, that's okay. You can draw one on too. Or maybe even a nice sticker would be cool. You could give it a star eye. All right, we're gonna put down, now that I put some glue on our googly eye, I'm gonna make sure I press it down so it doesn't fall off. That would not be good for our cardinal. And now we've created a nice winter cardinal. Look at that finished product. We did such a wonderful job together, having the nice red, the orange beak, everything like that. I cannot wait to see how yours turns out. So make sure that you have a lot of fun. Get out that color paper, get out your binoculars too and look outside to see what birds you see flying around in the sky, because maybe you could add some other ones to the other branches too. So until next time, keep creating and have fun. Bye.